I, M35, almost cheated on my wife, F34, today. I DKY but today I almost cheated on my wife of 15 years. Now we have been together since high school and I have never cheated once. Today we were at a wedding party for one of her co-workers. I was the sober driver for us and another couple. At the wedding we were seated across from a table of all singles and the woman directly across from me I found extremely attractive. Throughout the dinner we kept making direct eye contact to the point where I could tell she and I were looking for a reason. Now to this point in my relationship I have never cheated on my wife. I have been propositioned to a few times but proudly I have always refused. She was different. I know that if I hadn't been stone cold sober I would have cheated that night. As the night went on she continued her advances. Dancing with me, having private conversations, finding me when I would go out for a bit. That all culminated in her following me to the bathroom, behind a large partition, to bump into me, while my wife was outside talking to the newlyweds. Now I have been propositioned before but this night felt different. I have never been so close to saying yes. I DK what is happening but I don't want to cheat. More and more I find myself lusting for women other than my wife. How do I curb this desire? What can I do to stop? TDLR. I've never cheated before but lately have been more tempted to. You ever had an orgasm so good it was worth ruining your life over? Me neither. It's pretty simple actually and you don't need a therapist or a divorce. There is two parts to this. The first one is simple. People that don't actively seek out opportunities to cheat but end up cheating anyway aren't good enough to shut down temptations early on. The situation here is an excellent example. It's perfectly normal to be attracted to someone but the more you act on that the harder it will be to say no to temptation. Not doing anything when you saw her at the table is easy. Saying no when she follows you to the toilet and you know there is mutual attraction is hard. You still did the right thing when it was hard, so well done, but next time you should draw the line where it's easy. The second part is much more difficult. You say that these situations happens more often now. It could be that you for some reason have more temptations. But you should look into if there is something missing in your relationship with your wife. Maybe you two has some growing to do together as a couple? If the woman knows you are married and still tried to get close to you, just tell yourself they are a huge red flag, which is what they are. Like who the hell would hit on a married guy? That is whole other level of daddy issues. I feel like you need better boundaries with people of the opposite sex. You should protect your marriage and maybe not give the other person the idea that you would be interested in cheating. Eye contact and dancing with someone else you are attracted to and tempted by seems like playing with fire. If your wife was doing that with other men and was tempted to cheat, how would you feel? Maybe, just maybe, you are putting yourself into these situations versus them just happening more often. Why continue to give others the idea you are interested and focus that sexual energy back towards your wife? Oh, and most monogamous couples that I know don't openly dance with strangers. Maybe try dancing with your wife. It happened because you gave off vibes that it could happen. Women pick up on that. Not just women who want to sleep with you. Other women. Like your wife's friends and colleagues. If you think other people there didn't pick up on what was going on, you're fooling yourself. Whatever restlessness you are feeling is either fleeting or not. How you behave during this period will follow you and her forever. If you want to act single, get divorced. If you want to be married, act married. If you don't know, have the balls to tell your wife how you're feeling and let the chips fall where they may. But have more respect for her and your marriage than you showed at this event. What are you doing? You know not to put yourself in any of those positions and yet you do. If you know there's attraction there, that's completely normal. But it needs to have stopped right there. Which means putting a complete stop to any interaction or shutting down advances from the get-go. Still you let things persist. Sounds like you are so insecure that even though you don't want to cheat on your wife you can't manage to muster the integrity not to flirt with a stranger at the dinner table alongside your wife. Simply because she glanced in your direction, lol. Is there something going on in your marriage? Do you still feel attracted to her? Dead bedroom? Just bored? Need a little more context here on what's going on. Honestly, as your wife, did she not pick up on these vibes at all? I'd find it odd she didn't. TBH. I'm kind of astonished you let it go that far with your wife right there. With one of her coworkers? That is just a huge amount of disrespect. I mean, if you are going to cheat, at least do it with someone she doesn't know and won't be a huge source of embarrassment at work. For her, I was hit on this weekend at a b-day party by some married guy, whose wife was gorgeous actually, so I couldn't figure out why TBH. While I initially talked to him BC I'm outgoing, I noticed him getting a bit more intense and simply quit engaging and wouldn't hold the eye contact, etc. I mean, our spouses were right there. It would have been weird to openly flirt with someone with my husband basically a few feet from me. He of course noticed and made a couple comments to me about it. But it's not like he had reason to be jealous BC I didn't engage. Just walk away. Talk with your wife. You should have removed yourself and you should have told her stop. You made the choice to let the looks, dancing, flirting continue. It's all on you. Now to this point in my relationship I have never cheated on my wife. I have been propositioned to a few times but proudly I have always refused. You don't applaud a fish for swimming. So why should you be proud of not cheating when you've clearly thought about it? If I hadn't been sober, then I would have cheated that night. Are you listening to yourself? You've already admitted that you would have cheated if you had been sober, drunk. Why? So you could have an excuse later rather than just admitting it? Get therapy. Talk to your wife and do better. Firstly, you are proud. You've never cheated on your wife? WTF? What do you want? A medal? That should be the standard. I've been married 25 years and never cheated either. That's the standard. Next up, you felt that pull and that attraction, and you think you would have cheated had you not been sober. You know what? Good on you for recognizing that, and that you have felt more tempted recently. Recognizing that it's happening is the first step to getting things sorted. I would suggest going to a therapist and exploring what's happening in your relationship that's causing you to feel this way. Have you got too comfortable and predictable? Subtext. Boring, perhaps? Also, talk to your wife. I get the impression you generally have a good relationship and you don't want to sabotage that. You could perhaps find some stuff to do together which you would both enjoy. Good luck. Why are you attracted to someone who goes after married men? She sounds like trash. I think you need to both sit down with a therapist and communicate with your wife. You could have shut her advances down in a second, but instead you danced with her, had private conversations with her, etc. If you're at the point where you know you would cheat if you weren't sober. I think your wife deserves to know that so that she can make an informed decision. You are a married man who did not cheat on his wife. Are you expecting a pat on the head or a round of applause from a bunch of internet strangers or something? It is standard behavior to honor your marriage vows and you come across as a bit smug and pathetic trying to pretend that the urge to cheat is some sort of epic struggle that you triumphed over. For starters, you need to tell your wife that you were being pursued by a woman who you most likely will run into again so that your wife can monitor the situation and raise her guard up. So you're proud of yourself for not cheating. You actually think you've really achieved something worth being proud of that wouldn't even enter someone else's head who genuinely loved their other half. Your poor wife. Your poor wife. It's a psychological factor of attraction. I feel bad for your wife. But it's up to you if you wish to hell her or not. I'd advise that you tell her after you sort out your feelings. But as for the advice, why not stop looking at other women? The more you look, the more the desire deepens. The more you dwell and think about it, you're just going to end up cheating. Spend more time with your wife and children if you have any. Always remember there's something called consequences. And if you do believe in a God, seek Him. You can keep desires under control the more you purify your thoughts. People always crave the forbidden. And it's like even when you have the best near you, you try to explore the rest thinking they'd be better. So the best way is to see the best in your wife. Best advice I can give you is go whack one out in the restroom and your mind will be clear. A therapist could probably help you with this. Dude, the fact you were flirting with this woman all night and finding excuses to be near her or alone with her is cheating. Your wife deserves better than you.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.